Welcome back, everybody. Now, I've done quite a few types of gadgets over the years, but I've never done one like this. Today, I'm taking a look at 5 different cereal gadgets to see if they really work. That's today's video, so let's get right to it. All right, no preliminaries. Let's just jump right into it. The first one I'm going to do is actually one I'll need for the others, which is a cereal dispenser. Let's crack it open. It's well packaged, I'll give them that. I feel like it's a workout just getting out of the packaging. Definitely some assembly required, so I'm gonna have to put this thing together. Look at that. For some reason, I didn't expect that much. All right, well, can't be that difficult. A cereal dispenser, right? Wait, I need these. It looks like some of this is already assembled, so it shouldn't be too hard, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wash these parts out, I'm gonna put them together, and then we'll get started. All right, well, here it is. You know what's funny is the instructions make it look more difficult than it is to assemble. Assemble is pretty quick, except for the fact that this, you kind of have to shove in the base. It takes a little bit of brute force, but otherwise it's easy to assemble. Let's take a closer look at this Honey Can Do cereal dispenser. Now, it's cheap plastic. I thought from the picture it might be metal. I don't know why I thought that. I don't think it said it. It had that kind of 50s diner metallic look to it, but it is pretty cheap plastic. But it was only 25 bucks. See, look at this, a little bit flimsy. Oh wow! When I push that lid on, look at it. Now something completely different texture, some Raisin Bran Crunch. I should point out that there are these little plugs down here that come out when you want to dispense your cereal, which I'm going to do right now. It does seem like this could be just a hair taller. As you see, I have to kind of tilt the bowl to get underneath there because it's kind of scraping. So let's try it out. Well, the cereal looks like it's still pretty much intact. I think it worked. It's very easy to forget to take this plug out, by the way. Gotta remember to take the plug out. Let's try it. I was hoping that it wouldn't come out just ground up cereal, which is not, so I'm pretty happy about that. I think so far, it's working pretty good, but I'm gonna use this for a while and see how it holds up. The only negative I've seen so far is that when you take this top on and off, it's a bit flimsy. Other than that, I think it looks nice and it seems to work like it's supposed to. I like it. I was worried it wasn't going to fit underneath my cabinet, which it does. And the height on it is 16 inches. For those of you in the metric system, I will put centimeters on the screen. But it does fit under my cabinet, so I'm happy about that. Next up, in this unassuming box is our next product, the Crunch Cup. Don't need it, probably won't use it. Now, if I understand right, the idea behind the Crunch Cup is that you can consume your cereal and milk at the same time, but they're not mixed together in the cup itself. So I'll see how much it holds, I'll see if it really works, see if I like it. Here are the components of the Crunch Cup. I've disassembled it. So what you're supposed to do is first is add milk past the taper line here. We're supposed to put the lid on the small, and this looks pretty small. That looks pretty small, I must say. And then we insert it like that. I've got 1 cup of cereal in here, and here's the Crunch Cup not filled. Looks like it holds exactly 1 cup of cereal. Now I put the white cap in there. You have to line these up with the notches inside, and that's what we have. There's also a hole right there where you're supposed to control the flow of the milk with your lip or your tongue, I guess. All right, here we go. I've read a lot of mixed reviews and some people seem to love it, some people don't. So it's time for me to form my own opinion now. Let's try it out. So I think you're supposed to put your lip on it. I tried my tongue and it didn't work. I was thinking that was too much milk. Now I'm starting to think it wasn't enough. I'm already getting kind of low on my milk here. There is definitely a technique to this that I feel like every drink or bite, is it a drink or a bite? I don't know. Every time I consume some, I feel like I'm getting a little bit better each time. The first couple times I just had nothing but a big mouthful of milk. But as I'm learning to adjust my lip over that opening, it seems like it's getting better. I'm thinking I'm gonna run out of milk first though. I also keep getting milk on my lip too. It's running down my mouth. Now I'm trying to time it so I get the last bit of cereal with the last bit of milk. I'm gonna be honest, I actually didn't think I was gonna like that one. I do have a friend who tried it once and didn't like it. I actually like it. I think the Crunch Cup's pretty good. It prevented the cereal from getting soggy. The milk and the cereal don't really commingle until they actually get in your mouth, which is kind of a cool idea. And you can use it one-handed. I can see myself sitting at my desk as if I'm sipping my coffee, but I'm actually drinking my cereal. I don't know. I like it. I think the Crunch Cup is pretty cool. It takes some getting used to. I feel like I was getting used to it, but I feel like I'm gonna get used to it even more as I use it, but I'm gonna keep using the Crunch Cup. I think the Crunch Cup is pretty good. And I'm kind of surprised about that because I really didn't think it was gonna be very good, but I like it. As if I haven't had enough cereal already, let's try another bowl. This time, the Obol. Never eat soggy cereal again. We shall see. It's also interesting because it actually sits at an angle. This side is higher than that side and it's angled downward, so the cereal automatically falls that way. Now I did try to use my dispenser on this. This is kind of tall, it was a little bit awkward. I got it in there, but it was a little bit difficult, so I wouldn't say that's as much as I normally put in a bowl of cereal. I think that was kind of the same thing with the Crunch Cup. The Crunch Cup didn't hold a lot either. It was 1 cup of cereal. When I have cereal, I usually have quite a bit, but that's a minor complaint, I think. I've already put the cereal in here. Let's put some milk. All right, so what we're supposed to do here is just nudge over the cereal you want into the milk portion. Obviously, the idea of this is that your cereal never really gets soggy if it's not touching the milk until you're about to put it in your spoon. Down the hatch. I ended up eating the whole bowl of cereal before I could really give any commentary, so I'm gonna do it now. What I like about the Obol is that there's that first bite when you first get a bowl of cereal that you kind of have diminishing returns after that because it gets soggier and soggier. And I'm not talking to the people out there that like soggy cereal. There's that initial crunch that always seems to be a little bit less with each bite. You don't get that with the Obol. Every bite is like that first bite, so that's kind of nice about it. I think people that don't like soggy cereal would love something like this. As far as I'm concerned, there's no real hidden cons with the Obol. I think it works pretty much as I thought it would, which is pretty good. All right, the next item is not specifically a cereal gadget per se, but it can be used for cereal bags. That is this magic bag sealer. These are actually quite highly rated on Amazon, and I think this cost me about 14 bucks for these. It's basically just 2 packages that are literally taped together in the back. They're just taped together. But you can use it for all kinds of different bags, including cereal bags, because not everybody wants to use a dispenser like the one I have out there. When you've got your cereal bag like this, you know, what are you gonna do? You could put a bag clip on it, right? But you know, that's not convenient. It's just chaos trying to put a bag clip on a cereal bag in a box. You can do it, but I guess I did do it. Maybe it's not chaos after all. But there might be a better way with the magic bag sealer sticks. I'm gonna start off with a small bag and a small clip and then move my way up to the cereal after I figure out the technique. Fold the bag, choose a suitable stick. I would say this is suitable. Oh, I see. Oh, I see. It's pretty handy. So it didn't quite go all the way to the end, and that's because this stops it. You can't go any further than that. This would have been too big though, so I guess it's pretty good. It feels very sturdy. All right, cool. Let me try something else now. Let's move to a medium size with a Cheez-It snack mix bag, which is almost empty, by the way, because I've been eating them. I would say the green is probably closest for this one. All right, fold it over. it looks like that is supposed to go inside and you just slide it over. Boom. These are actually pretty efficient. All right, let's move up to the point of this video, which is a cereal bag. It looks like the blue one will be about the right size for the cereal bags. There's a very small learning curve. Once you get the hang of it, after a couple times, it's pretty easy. But here we go. It's stable. This is not going anywhere. These actually work. I'm a little surprised. I know I say I'm a little surprised a lot, but I have low expectations for a lot of products. But this one has lived up and probably exceeded my expectations. Pretty happy with it. For those of you who are bag clip junkies, this is something you need to put on your short list of things to consider. This definitely works. Let's take a look at this cereal on the go cup, which I believe costs me about $9. This has been in the freezer all night. This gel in here is supposed to keep your milk cold. You're supposed to keep your milk in the bottom cup and your cereal in the top cup. Similar to Crunch Cup, but you eat it like a regular bowl of cereal, unlike the Crunch Cup where you consume them together. But let's take a closer look. So this holds about 1.5 cups of cereal as opposed to the Crunch Cup, which holds 1 cup of cereal. So it holds more cereal, but it looks like less milk. See how much milk that was. That's about half a cup of milk. So if you like to go heavier on cereal and lighter on milk, this one is probably for you. But this one also, the milk stays cold, and this one can be taken around with you. Unlike the Crunch Cup that doesn't have any kind of a seal, so you kind of have to consume it right there. Well, this is how you're supposed to prepare it. And then you send Johnny off to school with this, I guess. Like that. Now my question is this waterproof? Let's find out. I would say so. Oh, that's good. I was rooting for it. It seems like it is, yeah. It's not leaking. All right. By the way, when I put it in the freezer, it fell over, so it kind of froze at a strange shape, but that should not affect how cold it keeps the milk. They also give you this embarrassingly small spoon, which does fold, but oh, it just seems so cheap. This is barely big enough for a child to use. I mean, obviously the idea is to add the milk to the cereal. Some people are just eating it like that. Some people are putting it back on there. And here we go. Looks pretty good. This spoon though, this spoon is a joke. I think I may have overfilled this a little bit. This is the embarrassing spoon they give you. I'm going to use a real spoon. All right, so I think the cereal on the go cup does work. It's actually surprisingly good, and the fact that it's leak proof helps a lot. You don't have to be quite as careful with it. So what I'm going to do is one more test with this one. I'm going to refreeze it, and I'm going to try the temperature of the milk after sitting for a couple hours versus a regular cup and see how much colder it does keep it. I've got equal amounts of milk in just a regular container that you might use to take some cereal to work with, and the cereal on the go frozen section. These were just poured from a carton of milk. I'm going to come back in a couple hours and measure the temperature and see what the temperature difference is. This doesn't really have a cap, so I have to put the top of this on here. And once again, this is not scientific, but I want to just have a general idea of how much colder it does keep the milk for about the same amount of time it would take for you to go to work and have your lunch hour, maybe about 4 hours, 8 to 12, something like that. I'm guessing it'll be pretty good, but let's find out in a few hours. Here we go, 4-hour-old milk. Let's check it out. I mean, it's colder. Is 8 degrees Fahrenheit significantly colder? I don't know. All right, well, it's colder. It's not significantly colder, but it is colder. I guess with milk, maybe a few degrees does make a difference, though. What do you guys think? All right, so let me recap the 5 cereal gadgets I reviewed here. And I want to say all of them worked. And usually I would rank items like a comparison like this, but it's kind of hard to rank them when they all work pretty well. I will say that I'm probably going to use a dispenser and the bag clips for sure. I'm not sure about the 2 cups and the bowl. with that in mind, let's discuss some pros and cons about all 5 of them. The Obol, I think that actually works pretty well. It's actually quite well made. It's heavy. I was surprised at how thick the material was. I can tell there was a lot of thought in the design of that one. It has this nice ergonomic grip to it, the slant so the cereal can go into the bowl easier. Every bite is pretty much like the first bite of a bowl of cereal. There's no sogginess. It works pretty well. The only thing about that one is that it doesn't really hold a lot of cereal. If you're someone like me who likes a ginormous bowl of cereal, you might have to fill it up a couple times. But that's probably a minor complaint. I do think the Obol works pretty well. Now, how about the Crunch Cup? That's a different one. The idea of actually drinking / eating a cup of cereal, it's just completely different. There is a little bit of a learning curve. You have to kind of use your mouth to adjust the flow of milk, but once you get used to it, it's a completely different experience. Like the Obol, every bite is actually a fresh, unsoggy bite of cereal, so that's kind of nice too. Also, like the Obol, it doesn't hold a great deal of cereal, but I do think that it offers an experience that is so unique that I think a lot of people are going to like it. As far as the cereal cup on the go goes, that one's a little bit more straightforward. I like the fact that it keeps the milk cold and that it's leak proof. You could put it in a backpack, you could put it in a briefcase and not worry as much. I don't know if I would trust it that much in a briefcase, but it is leak proof, so you don't have to worry too much about it. It does hold more cereal but less milk than the Crunch Cup. The spoon, seems like it was thrown in there as an afterthought. It's not a very big spoon. I'd probably use a regular spoon for that. But it's a great idea. I mean, I think the reviews back up what I found, that it's a pretty effective way of taking cereal with you to consume later without the milk getting warm. Now, the Magic Bag Sticks, I kind of had a little bit lower expectations to those because they're just bag clips, but I love the minimalist design. They actually, after you use it a couple times, you kind of get the feel for it. The first time it was a little bit awkward, but once you do it a couple times, you go, okay, that's how it's done. They're much less bulky than the traditional bag clips. I think it's a really ingenious design. I think that the bag clips are quite well done. Now, as far as the cereal dispenser goes, I'm already using it, so I mean, that one's already become part of my rotation. It's an attractive design. It dispenses cereal well. It's easy to use, pretty easy to set up. The only cons would be that the material is a lot cheaper than I thought it was going to be. It has kind of a cheap plastic feel to it. The gap between the dispenser and the bottom is a bit small. Some bowls don't fit in there as well. The plugs seem kind of useless because if you forget to take the plug out and turn the handle, you're going to get cereal everywhere. So I don't even use the plugs in there. So I definitely think that has a place in some people's kitchens. I think that there'll be kids out there that will have an easier time turning the handle than trying to get a bag out and pour it into a bowl. So to me, the cereal dispenser worked great. Well, that's it. I had pretty good luck on this particular review. All 5 items worked. That doesn't always happen, so I'm pretty happy about that. I'll be curious if any of you guys have tried any of these and what you think about them. Otherwise, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.